The pick is in.
The Philadelphia 76ers have made a selection in the 2024 NBA draft. I'm Tanitra Batiste, and we're joined by John Mitchell from Locked on 76ers to break down the 76ers selecting Jared McCain with the 16th pick presented by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to fast or post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. So, John, were you surprised the Sixers went with McCain already having Tyrese Maxey at point guard?
Well, no, because I mean he's a one and done out of Duke, and the projection is for him to be a scorer off the bench. It's interesting. It's interesting because he and Tyrese are the same size, but the difference is this is a guy with 30 some odd college games under his belt, and Tyrese is a player who's about to sign a max extension with the 76ers. So they see him. I mean, he's a great scorer. They'll probably see him as somewhat of a combo guard off of the bench. He's not. This is a guy who's not. They're not drafting to start. So we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But I think the Sixers like the fact this guy he's a marksman from outside, and he's in a league that's going more and more offensive. He is an offensive player.
Indeed. And you mentioned the fact that he is one of the better shooters in this draft, considered to be that. What do you think is his biggest strength at the point, or is that his biggest strength?
Well, I mean, he's a guy who he knocked down 42% of his catch and shoot threes in his one and only season. He's not really a point guard. He in that he doesn't have a high volume of assists. What he doesn't do is he doesn't turn the basketball over. So making the transition from the NCAA to the NBA, that's a good thing. But what they're really looking for him to do is to be a guy who can come off the bench and be a catch and shoot shooter, a spot up guy, a guy who can create his own offense, and they're going to want him to become a better defensive player. Defense wasn't his strong suit, but again, he's young. He's 19 years old. He's going to be. They think he has a nice upside.
Yeah, and John, it depends on who you talk to, what the definition of intangibles is. But wherever I looked at some of the scouting reports, it said that he's also the player with the best intangibles in the class. But what do you see as those intangibles with McCain?
Well, I think he's a guy. Again, we've been talking about shooting, and I think his shooting translates to the NBA. I think he's a guy who can really be a marksman in the NBA.
Yeah.
In a game, in a league where teams are averaging 30, 33 3-point attempts per game, that's where they're going to see him, make his money. And when he's out there again, the Sixers only have two players signed guaranteed contracts right now.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity. And I was always saying this when Keith and I talked about this on the podcast, whoever the 76ers drafted here is going to get an opportunity. People talk about them as being, you're an elite team. Well, it's kind of hard to say that when you just have two players signing guaranteed contracts.
Yeah. And also when you're looking up from the Eastern Conference and seeing all of those teams with the 3 and D, like you said, needing to maybe improve on the defense. But if you can at least get the 3 and D, that's half the battle, right? So for more on the Sixers, subscribe to Locked on 76ers on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And for more on Jared McCain, let's get an inside look on his path to the NBA.
Duke Blue Devils freshman sensation Jared McCain might be the best shooter in this NBA draft. I am Alex Dono from Locked on ACC. While he doesn't have the best length at 6'2", McCain makes up for so much of that with his high basketball IQ, his sharp shooting, and his crafty finishing at the rim. Shot 41.4% from beyond the arc last year, played over 31 minutes per game, averaging 14.3 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal per contest. McCain, by the way, he's got 3 million followers on TikTok, so he's multi-talented, but he's all business when it comes to basketball. That's his number one priority. The ACC All-Rookie and All-ACC Honorable Mention can help an NBA team immediately with his shooting. A common NBA comp for him is Seth Curry. For more on Jared McCain and all things ACC, follow and subscribe to Locked on ACC on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
And for continuing coverage of the 2024 NBA draft, subscribe to Locked on NBA on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.